between all of these? No? Okay, between the Siberian Husky and the Alaskan Husky, for a start. Does anyone know?
One's from Siberia.
That might have been true a long time ago. No, it's a very simple difference. The Siberian Husky is a pure breed dog. So in order to be able to call them Siberian, they have to have very specific characteristics. They have to have a certain length of the body, certain length of the legs, they have to have the ears that go up, they have to have the tail up. It's very, very precise, and most of our dogs are Alaskan Huskies, the other kind, which means that they are mutts, they're mixed breeds. So it's any polar breed mixed with anything you can think of. The imagination is the limit, but very often they've been mixed with greyhound type of dogs to make dogs that are gonna go fast. Because the Siberian Husky is the Hollywood one, it's the movie one, but the Alaskan is the one that does the serious job behind and that you're gonna find in the competitions as well. And then I've mentioned Malamutes. It's another kind of pure breed dog. It's just a little bit different characteristics. They're bigger for a start. And then the Lycanenets and the Tamers, they're two Siberian breeds that are very rare and very ancient and extremely resistant to the cold. So now that we've got everybody, that's fine. I think I'm going to do the driving instructions now, and then we'll head down to the farm and I'll talk a little bit more about the dogs on the way. Does that work for everybody? Alright, can everybody see from where you are? And can everybody hear me if I speak at that volume? That's fine? Yeah? Good. Let's start with the basics. This is your sleigh, and the dogs go in the front. There'll be a passenger and a driver, and you'll have a chance to swap halfway through for those of you who want. I'm going to start with the passenger because it's a little bit simpler. So you'll have a little reindeer skin, a little blanket in the sleigh so that you're nice and comfy in. And when you want to sit down in the sleigh, you're going to put one foot on each side of the sleigh. Don't put your foot in the middle, it's slippery. One foot on each side, and then lower yourself in and as far back as you can. And you're going to put your feet on top of the blankets, and someone will come in and tuck you in. You're going to keep your feet and your hands inside of the sleigh all the time. Don't hang on from the outside, because if there's a tree, you're going to hurt your elbow. And the passenger has two jobs that are very important. The first one is that there's a line that is tied at the front of the sleigh that goes between the dogs, to which they are tied. And this line has to stay tight the entire time. If it goes slack, the dogs can get tangled in it and they can injure themselves. So as a passenger, your job is to look at the line, and if you see that it's getting slack, signal to your driver so that they can slow down and tighten the line again. And the other job is the pictures. You'll see that your driver is going to have very busy hands. To get out of the sleigh, you go back at the front, 2 feet on one side, and then as elegantly as you can, muster all your dignity and get out. That's it for the passenger. Now for the driver, it's a little bit more complicated. We're going to allocate to each of you a sleigh number, tied to a post with that rope. Once you've found your sleigh, before going on it, it's your last chance to put your mitts, close the jacket, put the hat on. Don't do like me, cover your ears. And when you're ready, 2 feet on the brake. The brake is that double ice pick at the back. 2 feet on the brake and 2 hands on the bar. Your hands, once they're on the bar, you're never going to take them off. They're glued to the bar. That's the #1 rule of dog sledding. Never let go. Okay. When we see that you're in that position, we know that you're ready. So we're going to come and untie you. And from there, it's just you holding the dogs. If there's some tiny people like me, amongst you and you're standing on the brake and the dogs are going anyway, you can lift the sleigh a little bit and then the brake will go even deeper. We're going to go one at a time. There will be a guide on the start line in this position. It's not your turn yet. And we'll have the first sleigh go, and the second sleigh, and when we turn to you and we say, let's go! At that point, you take one foot off the brake and put it on the runner. And then the dogs are gonna go. At the beginning, you're gonna keep your other foot on the brake to regulate the speed. And once your heartbeats are a little bit calmed down, you can put your second foot on the runner. And this is the stable position you're going to be in most of the time. So sometimes you were on the brake, you're ready to go, nothing happens, the dogs haven't noticed that you're not braking anymore, you put the other foot off, nothing still. So in that case you can give it a push at the back and then the dogs will go. A sign that you might see today is this one. What do you think it means?
Slower.
Slow down. You might see it on the start line if we see that you're getting a little bit carried away with the dogs at the beginning, and to remind you to keep your line tight. Okay? So once you've gone, after the start line, there'll be a curve. In the curve, it's like riding a bicycle. You brake before, and you take the curve nice and stable on both of your legs. And you're going to put a little bit of weight inside of the curve. So if you're turning left, a little bit of weight to the left, and if you're turning right, a little bit of weight to the right. No need to go full acrobatic, otherwise your passenger might resent you a bit. It's a very awkward journey home after. Just a little bit more weight on one leg or on the other. If you see that you've gone a little bit too far and that you're starting to tip, you can run next to the sleigh and go back on it. And if really you've missed your curve there and you've tipped your sleigh, that's fine, because you remember the number one rule?
Don't let go.
Exactly. And the dogs will stop at some point. Try and hold on as much as you can. The friction of your body on the snow is going to slow down the dogs. The reason we want you to hold on is that if you let go, it's lighter for the dogs. And they're going to be tempted to go and pass the team in front. And your dogs get along in your team, but not necessarily with the team in front. So it's best to keep them separate. Now, if you have fallen off and the dogs have stopped, then wait for the snowmobile, who will be coming with you on the safari, to come and give you a hand, because if you put it back, the dogs are going to go again with your passenger. So once the sleigh is back up, jump on the brake, okay? And then you can sort out your passenger, brush off the snow, and once everybody's ready, go again. But that's the worst case scenario, and it's not going to happen today anyway. So that was for the curves. After the curve, we've got an uphill. In the uphill, you're going to help the dogs by pushing behind. And if it's not enough, if they turn and they look at you like they're saying, come on, a bit of help, then you can run behind and jump back on the runners at the top. And then you've got downhills. So in the downhills, you want to protect the dog. You don't want the sleigh to go and hit them in the legs at the back. You're going to slow down with one foot on the brake. And more or less pressure depending on the downhill. It's also going to be important to slow down to keep your line tight in the downhill. Okay. There's a couple of other occasions where you might have to slow down or to brake, and that's if you see the dogs running on three legs. What could it be? What do you think? I have to pull to go for toilet. Exactly. Yeah. So they might be peeing or pooping. The dogs are very talented. They can run and pee at the same time, but you're still gonna have to slow down. Maybe if it's your lead dogs, your dogs at the front of your team that are peeing or pooping, they might stop completely because there's no one to pull them forward. In that case, you stop, you wait for them to be done, and then you can go again. They might also be running on 3 legs if they're a little bit tangled in the line. If the line was a bit slack and they've gotten caught in it. So again, they're really talented, they're really quite good at untangling themselves, so give them a chance by braking, by slowing down to do it themselves. And if really they're completely tangled, 2 foot on the brake, and it's the one and only time you're allowed to let go of one hand to call the snowmobile. And the snowmobile will come, undo the knots, and then send you on your way again. Now, of course, if the sleigh in front of you brakes or slows down, what do you have to do?
Also.
Exactly. As you will have understood, passing is not allowed. So you slow down or you brake. There's a good trick to know if you have a good distance with the sleigh in front, and it's that rope. Because once you've gone, it's going to be dragging behind the sleigh. And you don't want your lead dogs, the dogs at the front of your team, to be closer to the sleigh than the length of the rope. So if the lead dogs are running here, you're fine. If they're running here, you're too close. Slow down, give a bit more distance, and then you're good. And if there's more distance than the rope, that's fine. That's not a problem. Now maybe the guide will ask you to stop at some point to make some swaps between the teams. Okay? In that case, you can take the sleighs a little bit closer than the rope so that the guide doesn't have to walk all the way to the back. Okay? And we're doing the halfway at the monkey. No, we're not. We're not. So, halfway through the safari, we're going to stop so that drivers and passengers can swap. So again, full stop. How many feet on the brake? 2. Perfect. And then, sir, it's not the time to be a gentleman. It's not the time to go and help madam out of the sleigh, because she's going to go without you. Stay on the brake. Let the person get off the sleigh by themselves. They'll go around, and I'm going to use you as an assistant. If you put 1 foot on, I put 1 foot off. Other foot on, other foot off, and then someone is on the brake and I can get my camera sorted and everything. When we come back into the farm, we will tell you where to stop next to posts so we can tie you up again. Don't get off the brake again before you're tied up. Because if you go, that was great, the dogs will go again. Alright, that's for the basics. Are there any questions so far? It's a lot of information, but you'll see that it's quite natural once you're on the sleighs. Okay. So today we're just going to have one obstacle that we're going to go across, and that's the road. We're going to cross the road. So the snowmobile is going to go ahead and check left and right that we can go. And then the person on the snowmobile will either tell you to go if there's no car, and in that case you just go, no need to check what's going on behind. You can go, you can slow down before the road, but not on the road. It's tarmac, it's hard, the brake don't work there. But if the person tells you to stop, it's very important that you do stop because there's a car coming. So 2 feet on the brake, very focused. Please don't stop with your dogs on the road. Stop a little bit before, even if the sleigh in front of you has gone. Okay? And then you wait until you have a signal to go across it. Okay? Questions?